Chair recognizes the delegate at mic 2.
Thank you, sisters and brothers. My name is BonnieCastillo, and I am the director of National Nurses United Registered Response Network. We're a network of over 20,000 nurses who are ready throughout the United States that are ready to deploy when disasters hit. First, I do want to say I am so proud of the effort and the determination by all of us here today to respond to the crisis in Puerto Rico. It was an extraordinary effort by ordinary working people, union working people, who understand the importance of collective action and that came together for the people of Puerto Rico. For us, it was a major task to complete this level of time-consuming, deep vetting and preparation for all 50 volunteer nurses that NNU sent in order to deploy on such incredibly short notice. It was an impossible task, but that became possible due to the extraordinary efforts of nurses, staff, and the staff of the AFL. But for us, and I assume for all of you, as nurses, as our nurses return, we are seeing something very different in their faces. This was a very sobering experience. The role they were forced to play first was the role of first responder. What they found as they went out as a first responder was deep desperation. There was no clean water, no food. Many homes were without roofs, and an unhealthful black mold was beginning to set in. All the people were asking for was clean water and food. So before nurses could even get to the task of nursing or providing medical assistance, they had to first meet basic needs. And the report of going into these small towns and finding dangerously dehydrated babies lying in the arms of their mothers, and they saw the beginning of a potentially lethal epidemic of leptospirosis that forces people to make decisions, a deadly decision between dehydration or drinking contaminated water. At Costco, they saw pallets of water that was laid there and said not for sale, because water is gold in Puerto Rico. Every one of our returning nurses are saying, where is our government? Where is our government? Look, there is no doubt that we are in a new era, and it doesn't matter which latitude or longitude where you live. This climate crisis is getting real. This couldn't be more perfectly illustrated than
Sister
one of our
Bonnie,
nurses.
I have to ask you to wrap up.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up. One of our nurses who also lost their home. All of these, what we're experiencing is a social crisis that requires a social response. And for our nurses, this was a which side are you on? And for all of us, we are all Puerto Ricans. Thank you.
Before I call on the delegate at mic 2, I might add that two of the nurses that volunteered to go to Puerto Rico while they were there helping citizens in Puerto Rico, their homes were burned and destroyed in the wildfire. Their dedication cannot be overstated, and we want you to know that take back to them from all the delegates at the convention our sincerest appreciation and thanks, and let us know how we can help in rebuilding their lives because they sacrificed so much. Thank you for that. Chair recognizes the delegate at mic 2.
Mr. Chairman, AugustinTellez with the Seafarers International Union, and I stand not only to support this resolution, but on behalf of the seafarers and maritime labor, to thank the Executive Council for the inclusion of the Jones Act in the resolution. As with every issue that labor deems strong enough to fight for, we do so in the face of opposition's rhetoric and their lies. Excuse me. With the Jones Act, it's no different. But in the face of the opposition's polarizing rhetoric paid for and drafted by the Koch brothers and the Heritage Foundation, there are the facts. Fact, the Jones Act fleet was providing relief and preparing for the hurricane before it struck. We did so when the ports opened up on day one, and we do so today. Fact, as of weekend last Friday, the Jones Act fleet had delivered over 18,000 containers of relief and supplies to the island, along with trucks already filled with fuel for the generators at the hospital and with 120,000 gallons of water. Fact, the Jones Act fleets added additional vessels to provide sufficient capacity to the island. Fact, the delays were not a maritime problem, but an infrastructure problem. And thanks to the tremendous work of the ILA and the Teamsters, that's being cleared up and the stuff is getting delivered to the people. Fact, with another tremendous effort by the ILA and others, the ports of Humacao, Mayagüez, and Ponce are now opened, receiving relief for those folks. We continue to do so, and we will continue as long as the crisis is there. If we have one message to Puerto Rico, it is this: the time for polarizing rhetoric, political posturing is over. It's time for Puerto Ricans, the American citizens who reside in Puerto Rico, to unite as one Puerto Rico to get this island back on its feet. The seafarers will continue to deliver the goods while that's happening, and I'm sure that labor will stand shoulder to shoulder with them until we get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.